This is a quick tutorial on using macros in Google Sheets. A macro is a recorded set of actions within Google Sheets. So this is really useful if you're doing an action over and over again. You can create a macro and just do it in one click. So for example, if I have a large document and I want to bold something in that document, and then I'm going to bold something else, and then I'm going to change its color. I could set a macro that will bold it and change the color in one click. So you get to choose how you want to set that macro, and then you can perform it each time. So I'm going to show you an example of how macros work and how you can create one yourself. So here I have a list of teaks, and I want every time I think my students have mastered that teak, I want to bold it, change its color, and mark that checkbox. And I'm going to create a macro so it does it in one click. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to go up to extensions and down to macros. And you notice you have the option to record a macro or import a macro. Importing a macro means you already have one in another document. I'm going to record a brand new one. So I'm going to click record. You'll notice you have a little kind of recording pop up here in the middle, and it's actively recording. So any action I do to this document, it's going to record in that macro. But it gives you two options. You can use absolute references or relative. If you record a macro using absolute references, no matter where you are in your document, it's always going to go to the same cells that you recorded, the same part of your spreadsheet. If you use relative references, it will do the same actions wherever you choose to perform the macro. So typically that's the more useful of the two. So I'm going to stick with relative references, and it is actively recording. So I'm going to first do my actions and then save it. So I want to bold this up here, and I also want to change the fill color. And if you'll notice, as it's recording, it'll mention the action down here. And then I also want to check the box on that row that my students have mastered that. So those three actions are my macro. And I want to perform that over and over again in one click. So I'm going to save because I'm done. I'm going to title this Teaks macro. If I want, I can actually set a shortcut for my keyboard. I'm not going to today, and I'm going to click save. Okay, so my macro is saved, and now I can do it again on another line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to extensions, and I'm going to go back down to macros. Now I'm going to pause the video for just a second because the first time you perform a macro you've recorded, it will ask you to accept a bunch of permissions. And after that, you can perform it just in one click. Okay, so I've accepted my permissions, and now I'm going to select where I would like to perform this macro, and I'm going to do it in one click. So my students have mastered this teak, so I'm going to go highlight it, and I'm going to go up to extensions, down to macros, and then I'm just going to click Teaks macro. And it's running it, and then it automatically will do all three of those actions I asked it to do. It bolded it, it changed the fill color, and it checked this box. And again, I'm going to do it one more time to another one. And I'm going to go up to extensions, down to macros, down to Teaks macro, and it's going to do it again. So I've used it in a very simple formatting kind of method, but you can use macros for anything within Sheets. So any action you find yourself doing over and over and over again, try to record a macro with it and just use that macro. So it's a very useful tool. Thank you.